Hey, welcome back everybody. This is the Game Thrifter. I am back with another video. This one should be a fun one because, hey, I love the original Xbox. I think a lot of people have come around to really enjoying the original Xbox for a number of reasons. Obviously, it is a very powerful machine, and some of the games still look pretty good on it. So I always think it's fun to kind of go back and play some of these. And I wanted to do a video on some underrated games because, at the end of the day, there's a lot of games that have come out on the original Xbox that were forgotten about. Believe it or not, the console was only available for about 4 years, and after that, some of the games still haven't even seen ports to other platforms or anything like that. Not to say that these are exclusive or that anything like that, but it's still just kind of fun to talk about some of the great games that we've seen. And I wanted to give some information and talk about some of my favorites that I believe are vastly underrated. So hold on tight, this should be a good video, and if you guys do enjoy my videos, please remember to leave a like and subscribe, as that helps out the channel tremendously. Let's get started. And here we have Crash Nitro Kart. Yeah, believe it or not, this game came out on the original Xbox, and as you can see, it's one of those games that was already kind of widescreen and looks really good. If you want to play this game even today in 2024, it's a fun game to play. It handles great. The game actually looks incredible. As you can see, I mean, the game, I was just having a good time kind of playing it, and this was the first time that I played this game in quite a while. And I just was having a blast. It's like back in the day, we used to get a lot of different kind of kart racers and things like that. It's kind of a shame that we don't really get them as much anymore. We'll get them once in a while, but Crash Nitro Kart was just such a fun game, and I think it's an underrated game, and some people probably didn't even realize that it was on the original Xbox. But here it is, the proof. Nitro Kart. It's not even an expensive game or anything like that. That's one of the great things about collecting for the original Xbox, is that it's not expensive to collect for, and it's a fun console to collect for, and it has a lot of really great looking games still that play fantastic. So yes, Crash Nitro Kart, give it a try if you haven't already. I think the best age for platformers in the 3D era anyway was with the original Xbox and PS2 and stuff like that. And Voodoo Vince is quite a good platformer. It's something that kind of went under the radar then, and it was an Xbox exclusive. They did come out with a remaster of this on the Xbox One at a certain point, but still going back and playing it on the original Xbox is a lot of fun. And as you can see, it still looks good. You're a voodoo doll that kind of uses your powers, and you can like put pins in yourself to like destroy enemies and things. It's kind of this kind of cool platforming game with a funky vibe to it, and it's just stuff that you probably wouldn't see very much anymore without some kind of like trigger warning or something like that, as far as I could tell. So this is one of those games, and I love platformers, and this comes from a time when we were getting quite a few pretty good ones. So I have to say, if you have never played Voodoo Vince, give it a try. This game isn't very expensive. It's accessible, and it's quite a bit of fun as well. So remember to pick it up. I have to say, I love Toejam and Earl 3 so much. It's just an underrated game all day. This is probably one of the more expensive ones, but you can still get it for like $20-$30 if you are really interested. Now, the fun thing is, I don't think this game has ever come out on anything else. They did do like a kind of boot of the game back on the Xbox One, and it was like more kind of a reimagining of the first game. And listen, I loved the first two games on the Sega Genesis. It was really cool. I thought it was really a fun game because, obviously being able to play kind of the local co-op, I had a brother, so it was like any game that we could both play at the same time was something that was much welcomed and would create less arguing in the family. So, it was just really kind of fun to kind of go through and play the first one. Although I have to admit, we never beat the first game. It gets incredibly hard on the higher levels, but it was still a lot of fun. And Toejam and Earl 3 is kind of like that. It's a lot of fun. It looks great. You can see that. Like, I think that really comes through with these games, is they look really, really good. The original Xbox had a lot under the hood, and I think that really pays off for playing it later. It doesn't always do that with older consoles. If like you go play a Nintendo 64 game, some of those don't really hold up very well, but this holds up incredibly well. Yeah, Starsky and Hutch. It's a game that probably not a lot of people know about, and probably some people will think I'm crazy for having it on an underrated games list. I just found this game to be kind of a fun game to sort of get lost in. I understand it's not going to be a game for everybody, and I also understand that it's not going to be a game that is going to win a bunch of awards and things like that, but it is kind of just mindless fun. And I remember when I first played this game, I was kind of, taken aback by it a little bit because of, just how much fun I was having with it. I was like, really didn't expect it to be that fun. I think there were some other games that came out around this time, and, I was really expecting to really dive into them, but I couldn't put down Starsky and Hutch. And if you didn't know, there was a Starsky and Hutch movie that kind of came out with Ben Stiller and stuff like that. I think that might have been a little bit after this game, but it was also based on like the television show from like the 70s that was like, the typical 70s kind of stuff. So I thought they did a really good job with this. The gameplay's pretty fun, and like I said, this game is only a couple bucks, so if you do come across it, by all means pick it up. Let me know what you think. I think it's a blast. Now we're really kind of swinging into things with Brute Force. I'm sure some of you are probably well aware of this game. It's something that I think is still an underrated game, but there are so many other great games for the original Xbox. I feel like maybe Brute Force was one of the ones that sort of got overlooked from time to time. I hear people talk about it here and there, but for me, it's just such a kind of a fun game that I just have so many fond memories of. And of course, some of that is obviously nostalgia, but at the end of the day, I still think that it is a really, really good game and just something to kind of get lost in along the way. Now, some people might not like it or whatever. It did take me a little bit to get back into the controls. That's one of the things with the original Xbox is, it doesn't have the controller quite like how the 360 and the Xbox One and the newer consoles has, so it takes a little bit to get used to because it's got the black and white button and, things like that. But once you get used to it and you start flowing with the combat, it's just a lot of fun, and, I just can't really recommend it enough. It's such an underrated kind of gem. I don't, this isn't a hidden gems list. I just feel like they're underrated games, and so I thought it'd be fun to kind of talk about some of them. Yeah, good old Bruce Lee. Yeah, this was, believe it or not, an Xbox exclusive, and I believe it's probably still tied to the game. I know some people probably don't look at this as a great game by any means, but it is a fun game to me personally. And I think when it comes to things that you think are underrated or whatever, I don't really look at the internet and go, oh, okay, well, this person said this game is this or that. For me, it's a game that I don't hear a lot of people talk about that I maybe know, my gaming friends and things like that. But for me, like, an underrated game is something that I played a lot when it was out and really enjoyed. And even now, I'll go back and play some of these from time to time, and that's just something that I feel like kind of represents something being underrated. And so I talked about this game a little bit in one of my other Xbox videos, and it just is one of those that really deserves this spot. And I just have so much fun when I'm going in there and playing it. And it's something, of a budget title or whatever, but still is a lot of fun. And if you're a Bruce Lee fan, hey, why not, pick it up and play it, because I feel like it is such a classic game. So, yeah, Bruce Lee, a lot of fun, something different. And the original Xbox had a lot of things that were quite different, but yet fun. Now, this game was on pretty much everything, but I like the Xbox version, and I have it on Xbox. So, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Yeah, we have like stuff like Hogwarts Legacy now, but there was something really cool about getting a Harry Potter game for every Harry Potter movie that came out. And, it was just really a lot of fun at that time. And that's one of the things that I sort of miss about gaming. Yeah, not all the games are great. I actually find this one to be quite charming and fun. But, I understand that, especially when it comes to like superhero games and things like that. Not all of these games are going to be looked at as like these amazing masterpieces, but it is fun to play. And like this one in particular, I thought was quite a bit of fun and still looks good too. Like, that's the main thing. Is I've always kind of preached this when it comes to Xbox, and that is that these Xbox games, for the most part, look pretty good. Some of them can be in widescreen, but you have the option to play in widescreen right from the Xbox settings. So yeah, give it a try. Harry Potter, such a fun game, and again, one of those underrated gems, I feel like. Yeah, believe it or not, there were Batman games before the Arkham games, and Batman Begins was one of those interesting games that came out. I felt like it was a pretty fun game. It's not as well refined as the Arkham games, but I feel like for a movie tie-in game that it's still pretty good and kind of underrated. A lot of people, will probably forget that there's been quite a few Batman games that have been pretty good to really good. Even going back to the NES days, there was the Sunsoft Batman game that was really well done. Of course, there's been some really bad ones along the way as well. But this one, in my opinion, is a lot of fun, and people should definitely give it a try, because for as much as we kind of come to expect and love the Arkham games, this is more of a just kind of on the fly beat 'em up, less of a detective type game like those games ended up being, obviously. And the hardware was limited as well, but for what you can do, I feel like this is still a pretty fun and pretty underrated game. And so there you have a nice little compact list of underrated games for the original Xbox. I absolutely love hearing your guys' picks, though. I know some of you always disagree with my picks and think my lists are lame or whatever, and you tell me in the comments. It is what it is. We all have different opinions, and I love that about gaming. But, let me know what some of your picks might be for the original Xbox. Let me know if you have a list like this you'd like to see for a different console, maybe PS2, PS3, maybe Xbox 360, whatever the case may be. But I thank you all for joining me on this list, and please like the video, share it out, and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.